The alert came at 3:17 a.m. Seoul time. Dr. Tay sat bolt upright in his laboratory chair, staring at the readings. The Deep Space Monitoring System had detected movement, a lot of movement. "Director Kim," he called, his voice echoing through the empty corridors of the Korean Space Research Institute. "You need to see this." Director Kim Do-yeon arrived minutes later, her normally calm face tightening as she observed the data. Her fingers traced the unusual patterns on the screen. "How many?" she whispered. "Millions," Dr. Tay replied. "And they're approaching fast." The objects moved in perfect formation, too orderly to be natural. Both scientists knew what this meant, though neither wanted to say it aloud. This was not a meteor shower or cosmic phenomenon. This was something else entirely. Within hours, governments worldwide were scrambling. In Seoul, emergency meetings pulled officials from their beds. Defense forces mobilized as the alien fleet drew closer, their massive ships visible even to amateur telescopes. At South Korea's Defense Ministry, Colonel Park studied the satellite imagery with growing concern. His weathered face reflected the blue light of the monitors as technicians rushed around him. "Their technology is unlike anything we've seen," he told the assembled officials. "Our weapons may be useless." News channels began continuous coverage. People gathered in streets, looking skyward. Some panicked and fled cities, creating massive traffic jams. Others stayed home, hugging loved ones and waiting. Dr. Hannah Lee, head of xenobiology at Seoul National University, worked frantically in her lab. Something about the radiation signature from the alien ships caught her attention. It interacted strangely with Earth's atmospheric readings. "There's something here," she muttered to herself. "Something important." She ran test after test, comparing the alien energy signatures with Earth's atmospheric composition. The results made little sense, but showed clear chemical reactions she couldn't explain. In space, the fleet slowed as it approached Earth's orbit. The ships were massive, the smallest the size of a city block, the largest stretching kilometers across. They formed a perfect sphere around Earth, blocking out stars. Military forces worldwide prepared their defenses, knowing they likely stood no chance. Fighter jets were scrambled. Missile systems activated. Submarines moved into defensive positions. On a farm outside Seoul, old Mr. Beck looked up from his fields and saw the strange lights in the morning sky. Unlike the city dwellers who panicked, he simply leaned on his hoe and watched. Finally, he said to no one, "Something interesting." In the presidential bunker beneath Seoul, South Korea's leaders gathered with military commanders. Similar scenes played out in capitals worldwide. For once, old enemies shared information freely, united by a common threat. Colonel Park's phone rang. It was Dr. Hannah Lee. "Colonel, I need to speak with the president," she said, her voice urgent. "I've found something about their radiation signature. It might be important." Before he could reply, every screen, phone, and communication device on Earth suddenly activated. The same message appeared everywhere, in every language. "Your world belongs to the collective now. Resistance is meaningless. We arrive in 24 hours. People worldwide stared at their devices in horror. In Times Square, the message played across every billboard. In Tokyo, pedestrians froze in place. In Seoul, a mother pulled her children close as their television delivered the alien ultimatum. Dr. Tay worked furiously at his computer, trying to trace the signal. "They've hacked our entire communication infrastructure instantaneously," he told Director Kim. "Their technology it's beyond comprehension." Director Kim stared at the approaching fleet on her monitor. "What do they want with Earth? Why here?" In her lab, Dr. Hannah Lee made a breakthrough. The aliens' radiation signature showed vulnerability to something common on Earth. She needed more data, but there might be hope, something about Earth itself that the aliens hadn't accounted for. As darkness fell across Asia, people could see the ships with their naked eyes now, dark shadows against the stars, moving into position. Churches, temples, and mosques filled with people seeking comfort. Others took to drinking their fears away in bars or hiding in basements. Colonel Park looked at the latest satellite images. The first landing ships were detaching from the main fleet. They would enter atmosphere within hours. He made a call to Dr. Lee. "Do you have anything? Anything at all that might help us?" "Maybe," she replied, her voice tired but determined. "Their biology seems fundamentally different from ours. Our atmosphere might affect them in ways they haven't prepared for. I need more time." "Time," Colonel Park said grimly, "is the one thing we don't have." The countdown to invasion had begun. The skies darkened above Seoul as thousands of alien ships entered the atmosphere. The morning sun disappeared behind the massive fleet, casting an unnatural shadow across the city. People stopped in their tracks, looking up with fear and wonder. The alien vessels were unlike anything humans had built. They moved silently, defying known physics. Some were round like discs, others shaped like giant teardrops. Their surfaces gleamed with a metallic blue sheen that changed colors as they moved. In a bunker beneath the Defense Ministry, Colonel Park watched the live feeds from cameras positioned around the city. His face remained calm, but his knuckles turned white as he gripped the edge of the table. "Status report," he demanded. "Sir, we count over 3,000 ships above Seoul alone," his lieutenant reported. "Similar numbers are appearing worldwide. New York, London, Beijing, Cairo, all reporting massive presence." Outside, people ran through the streets. Some fled toward the countryside, carrying what they could. Others stood frozen, filming the ships with their phones. A few had gathered in parks, holding signs that read "Welcome" or "We come in peace." Dr. Hannah Lee hadn't left her laboratory. She worked quickly, comparing atmospheric samples with the alien radiation signatures. Her assistant, Young, brought her another cup of coffee. "You should get somewhere safe," she told him without looking up from her microscope. "With respect, Dr. Lee, nowhere is safe now," Young replied. The first landing crafts detached from the larger ships. They descended slowly, choosing open areas in cities worldwide. In Seoul, the largest craft, nearly half a kilometer across, hovered over Gwanghwamun Plaza. Military vehicles formed a perimeter around the area. Soldiers took positions behind barriers, weapons ready but held in check. They had strict orders: do not fire first. Colonel Park arrived at the scene in an armored vehicle. He set up a command post in a building overlooking the plaza. Through binoculars, he studied the alien craft as it descended. "All units hold position," he ordered through his radio. "Wait for my command." Across the city, smaller ships landed in parks, sports fields, and wide streets. Each landing site quickly became surrounded by military forces and curious civilians who ignored evacuation orders. In her lab, Dr. Lee made a discovery. When she introduced Earth's air to a sample of the alien radiation, it created an unexpected reaction. She immediately called Colonel Park. "The nitrogen-oxygen mix in our atmosphere interacts with their energy signatures," she explained hurriedly. "I don't know what it means yet, but there's definite reactivity." "Is it dangerous to them?" Park asked. "I need more data," she replied. "If I could get a sample of their actual biology." "You might get your chance soon," Park said grimly. "They're opening their doors." The craft in Gwanghwamun Plaza had settled just meters above the ground. A section of its underside began to glow and then slide open. A ramp of light extended down to the pavement. Soldiers raised their weapons. Civilians who had stayed to watch pulled out phones to record the historic moment. Colonel Park felt sweat running down his back despite the cool morning air. "Stand ready," he told his forces. "But remember, do not fire first." The first alien emerged from the light. It stood taller than a human, with a slender form that seemed almost translucent. Its body shimmered with colors that shifted like oil on water. It had 4 arms and a head with compound eyes that reflected the morning light. More aliens followed, each carrying what appeared to be weapons or tools. They moved with an eerie grace that made them seem almost liquid. Similar scenes played out worldwide. In Times Square, aliens descended onto Broadway. In Red Square, they emerged before the Kremlin. In Tiananmen Square, they faced Chinese forces in a silent standoff. Colonel Park watched through binoculars as the alien commander, distinguished by markings on its body, stepped forward. "Can we communicate with them?" he asked his communications officer. "We're broadcasting welcome messages in all languages, sir." No response yet. The alien commander raised one of its four arms. The object it held began to glow. "Weapons ready," Park ordered quietly. "But hold fire." The alien pointed its device at the nearest military barricade. A beam of light shot forth, turning the concrete barrier to dust instantly. Soldiers dived for cover. "Hold fire!" Park shouted as nervous fingers moved to triggers. The alien commander took another step forward. It raised its device toward the sky and fired again. The beam shot upward, creating a strange ripple in the air above the city. "What are they doing?" Park whispered. Dr. Lee's voice came through his earpiece. "Colonel, my readings are going crazy. Whatever they just did, it's changing our atmospheric composition directly above the city." The alien commander turned its compound eyes toward the building where Park was stationed. With a fluid motion, it pointed directly at him. "They know I'm here," Park realized. He stepped away from the window just as the alien moved forward again. The invasion had truly begun. The first alien took 3 steps onto Earth's soil before stopping abruptly. It raised a limb, examining it as the outer layer began to crystallize before everyone's eyes. The shimmering colors that had moved across its body slowed, then stopped completely. Colonel Park watched through his binoculars, confused by what he was seeing. "What's happening?" he whispered. The alien commander made a sound, a high-pitched vibration that seemed to ripple through the air. It took another step forward, then stumbled. Its leg cracked like thin ice on a pond. Across Guangwaman Plaza, more aliens emerged from their craft, but each began to undergo the same transformation. Their bodies stiffened, colors changing from translucent blue to ashen gray. "Hold positions," Park ordered through his radio. "Something's happening to them." The alien commander tried to retreat, turning back toward the light ramp. Its movements became jerky, less fluid. With each step, its body seemed more rigid, more brittle. Soldiers watched in amazement as small cracks appeared across the alien's surface. It raised its weapon, pointing it toward the sky as if trying to signal the mothership, but the device fell from its grasp and shattered on the ground. Colonel Park's phone rang. It was Dr. Hannah Lee. "Are you seeing this?" she asked breathlessly. "They're breaking down," Park replied, still watching through his binoculars. "It's our atmosphere," Dr. Lee exclaimed. "The nitrogen-oxygen mix combined with our specific trace gases, it's toxic to them." Before Park could respond, the alien commander collapsed. Its body broke into pieces upon impact with the ground, crumbling like dried clay. The fragments continued to break down, becoming finer and finer until they resembled ash. Similar reports flooded in from around the world. In Paris, Tokyo, Cairo, and Rio, the invaders were literally falling apart upon contact with Earth's atmosphere. Dr. Lee rushed into the command center 20 minutes later, her lab coat wrinkled, her eyes wide with excitement and disbelief. "They never bothered to test compatibility," she explained to the gathered officials. "They just assumed they could survive here." "How is that possible?" Park asked. "A species advanced enough for interstellar travel wouldn't make such a basic mistake." "Arrogance," Dr. Lee replied. "Or perhaps they've conquered so many worlds that they never encountered one with our specific composition. Earth's atmosphere is actually quite unusual in its specific balance of gases." Outside, the alien ships remained hovering, but no more invaders emerged. Those that had already exited their vessels were now nothing but piles of fine dust being blown away by the spring breeze. Minister Han, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "But their ships seem unaffected. Why aren't they breaking down too?" "The ships must be sealed environments," Dr. Lee explained. "They probably maintain the atmosphere the aliens need to survive. But the moment they step outside..." Colonel Park moved to the window, looking at the massive mothership still hanging above the city. "They'll adapt. They'll create protective suits or change their strategy." "Not easily," Dr. Lee said. From what I can tell, it's not just our air, it's our entire biosphere that's toxic to them. Our bacteria, our viruses, our pollen, our soil. Even water vapor in our air seems to accelerate their breakdown. Reports continued to come in from around the world. In London, aliens had tried to retreat to their ships but dissolved before reaching safety. In Cairo, their weapons had stopped functioning after exposure to the atmosphere. In Rio, a ship had crashed when its pilot disintegrated mid-flight. We need to broadcast this information globally, Minister Han decided. People need to know we're not defenseless. In his laboratory across the city, Dr. Tay monitored communications from the alien fleet. He had managed to intercept their transmissions, though he couldn't understand the language. They're panicking, he told Director Kim over the phone. Their signals are becoming erratic. On screens worldwide, people watched in amazement as the invaders' bodies crumbled into nothing. Hope began to replace fear. Colonel Park organized teams to collect samples of alien remains for study. Approach with caution, he ordered. We don't know if their remains could be harmful to us. In Gwanghwamun Plaza, the alien ship remained hovering, its ramp of light still extended to the ground. But no more aliens attempted to exit. Dr. Lee examined the readings from reportable equipment. Their molecular structure is completely incompatible with Earth's environment, she explained to Colonel Park. It's like watching salt dissolve in water. A young soldier approached them, his rifle lowered. Sir, is it over? Did we win? Colonel Park looked up at the massive ship still darkening the sky. Not yet, he replied. This was just their first attempt. They'll try something else. As if responding to his words, the light ramp from the alien ship suddenly retracted. The vessel's engines hummed to life, glowing with strange energy. They're adapting, Dr. Lee said quietly. But now we know Earth itself is our shield. The second wave of aliens deployed wearing what appeared to be protective suits. Their ships hovered lower now, allowing them to exit quickly. In Gwanghwamun Plaza, Colonel Park watched through binoculars as these new invaders stepped carefully onto Earth soil. They've adapted, he said into his radio. All units hold position but be ready. The suited aliens moved differently than the first wave. Their bodies were completely covered in a metallic material that reflected the morning sunlight. They carried larger weapons and moved with caution, testing the ground before each step. Dr. Hannah Lee stood beside Colonel Park, monitoring readings on her tablet. The suits might protect them temporarily, she said, but I don't think they can fully shield against our atmosphere. She was right. Within minutes, the protective suits began to show signs of failure. First came small cracks appearing across their surfaces. Then the material began to turn dull, losing its reflective quality. An alien near the front raised its weapon toward the human forces, but before it could fire, the arm of its suit crumbled away, exposing the limb beneath. Within seconds, the alien's arm crystallized and broke off, falling to the ground as dust. It's working! Dr. Lee exclaimed. Our atmosphere is penetrating their protection. All across the plaza, the suited aliens began to break down. Some tried to return to their ships, moving with increasing desperation as their suits failed. Others collapsed where they stood, their bodies turning to ash that scattered in the wind. Reports came in from around the world describing the same phenomenon. In New York, suited aliens disintegrated while crossing Times Square. In Moscow, they turned to dust as they approached the Kremlin. In Sydney, they crumbled while marching across the harbor bridge. In Seoul, director Kim Do-yeon watched from the Space Research Institute's roof as alien ships crashed into the Han River, their pilots having disintegrated mid-flight. The water hissed and bubbled where the alien materials made contact. It's not just our atmosphere, Dr. Tay said, scanning new readings on his device. There's something about Earth's specific microbial environment. It's breaking down their molecular structure at an atomic level. The aliens had clearly underestimated Earth's natural defenses. Their ships began taking evasive action, some attempting to retreat to higher altitudes. But it was too late for many. As their pilots and crew disintegrated, vessels lost control, crashing into buildings, fields, and bodies of water. An enormous mothership hovering above downtown Seoul suddenly tilted to one side. Its engines flared irregularly, sending it drifting toward the city's tallest skyscraper. "Everyone take cover!" Colonel Park shouted. People ran as the massive ship scraped along the building's side, shattering windows and sending debris raining down. The ship continued its uncontrolled descent until it crashed into the river, causing a wave that washed over the banks. Dr. Lee approached the river's edge cautiously once the water receded. The alien ship was already breaking apart, its materials dissolving upon contact with Earth's environment. "This is remarkable," she said, taking readings. "Their technology is so advanced, yet so fundamentally incompatible with our world." Within hours, the invasion force that had terrified Earth was reduced to floating debris and drifting ash. The ships that remained intact retreated to higher orbit, no longer attempting to land. In the command center, officials watched satellite feeds showing the alien fleet in disarray. Some ships appeared to be attempting to help others. Many drifted without power or control. "They came with such confidence," Colonel Park said, watching the last functioning ship crash into the Yellow Sea. "They never considered that Earth itself would be their enemy." Dr. Tay intercepted more alien communications. "Their language is complex, but the patterns suggest panic," he told Director Kim. "I think they're trying to warn others away from Earth." Dr. Lee continued analyzing the alien remains. Under her microscope, the ash-like substance revealed complex structures unlike anything in Earth biology. "Their basic molecular composition is silicon-based," she explained to the gathered scientists. "Our carbon-rich environment acts like acid on their structures. What's ordinary to us is deadly to them." As evening fell, the few remaining alien ships in Earth's orbit began to retreat. Their formation was no longer orderly but scattered and desperate. People worldwide watched the night sky, seeing the ships as moving stars fleeing from our world. In a rural field outside Seoul, old Mr. Beck stood looking up at the retreating lights. A fine dust covered his crops, all that remained of the fearsome invaders. "The Earth protects its own," he said simply, running the alien ash through his fingers. In cities worldwide, people emerged from hiding to find streets dusted with the remains of the invasion force. Wind and rain were already washing away the evidence. Colonel Park stood on a rooftop, watching the last ships disappear into space. His phone rang. It was Dr. Lee. "We should collect as many samples as possible before they're gone," she said. "This could be the most important scientific discovery in human history." "More than that," Park replied. "It's our salvation. And our greatest defense going forward." Above him, the stars became visible again as Earth's natural shield sent the invaders back to the cosmos as nothing but memories and dust. 3 months after what became known as the 6-hour invasion, humanity had begun to recover and adapt. The alien ashes had been cleared away. Crashed ships had been moved to secure facilities. Cities had repaired most of the damage caused by falling vessels. Dr. Hannah Lee led the international research team studying the alien remains. In her laboratory in Seoul, she carefully examined the few preserved specimens. The room was filled with the world's top scientists, all working together regardless of their country's past conflicts. They were silicon-based, she explained to a group of visiting officials. Their entire biology was completely different from ours. Our carbon-rich environment was like acid to their molecular structure. She pointed to a screen showing microscopic images of alien cells breaking down when exposed to Earth's air. What's ordinary to us was deadly to them. Even the microbes in our atmosphere, things we don't even notice, were fatal to their systems. The United Earth Defense Force was established, with Colonel Park, now General Park, appointed as one of its directors. The strategy was simple: Earth's atmosphere was humanity's shield. Their headquarters occupied a new building in Seoul, with branches in every major city worldwide. "We aren't defenseless after all," General Park told the assembly during the opening ceremony. "We're protected by the very air we breathe." Recovered alien technology accelerated human advancement by decades. Director Kim oversaw the adaptation of their propulsion systems for Earth use. Teams of engineers worked day and night to understand and reverse engineer the alien technology. "We can reach Mars in days now," she announced at a press conference. What would have taken us months is now possible in less than a week. Scientists had discovered that humans could safely handle most alien materials if they were properly processed. The metals and alloys from the ships were stronger and lighter than anything made on Earth. The energy systems were clean and powerful. Dr. Tay continued studying the alien communications. He had made significant progress in understanding their language. They called themselves the Collective, he told Director Kim during their weekly meeting. They've conquered hundreds of worlds. But they never encountered a planet with our specific composition before. Will they come back? She asked. I don't think so, Dr. Tay replied. Their final messages warned others of their kind to avoid Earth. They called us the toxic planet and marked our solar system as dangerous. Old Mr. Beck's farm had become famous after scientists discovered that his soil contained the highest concentration of elements toxic to the aliens. Researchers determined that his traditional farming methods had created a unique bacterial balance that was particularly deadly to the invaders. My family has farmed this land for 17 generations, he told visitors proudly. We always knew it was special. In cities worldwide, monuments were built using alien materials. These towers served as reminders of Earth's unexpected victory and as early warning systems should the aliens ever return. The first human spacecraft using adapted alien technology prepared for its maiden voyage to Mars. Named Earth's Shield, it could make the journey in just 5 days. Its captain, a former fighter pilot named Captain G, had been one of the first to witness the aliens' destruction. We go to space not to conquer, but to learn, she said at the launch ceremony. And we go knowing that we carry with us natural advantages that make us formidable despite our short history in space. Dr. Hannah Lee was invited to join the mission as Chief Science Officer. The night before departure, she stood with General Park on the observation deck, looking at the stars. I'd been thinking, she said. The aliens were so advanced, yet so vulnerable. Their weakness was assuming that all life must be like theirs. A dangerous assumption, Park agreed. One we shouldn't make ourselves. Exactly, Dr. Lee nodded. As we venture out there, we need to remember that we might be the vulnerable ones next time. Different worlds, different rules. But we'll be prepared, Park said. Thanks to you and your team, we understand our advantages now. The next morning, Earth's shield launched into space, carrying humanity's hopes and dreams beyond our world for the first time since the invasion. In his office, Dr. Tay looked at the night sky with new eyes. On his desk sat a small vial containing preserved alien ash, a reminder of how quickly the balance of power could shift. They thought we would be easy to conquer, he said softly. Instead, they learned that sometimes the smallest things provide the strongest defense. As Earth's first true starship accelerated toward Mars, humanity faced the future with new confidence. They had survived their first contact with alien life. They had inherited advanced technology. And most importantly, they had learned that Earth itself, their home, had been protecting them all along. What had seemed like the end of human civilization had instead become humanity's first step toward the stars.